Hello, I'm Gloria Starr, global expert in manners and etiquette. I'm creating this video today in partnership with Courtney Johnson, the owner of Inspired Internationally. Courtney discovered me on YouTube and asked me to prepare a video on international etiquette. So, exciting things happen when you know what to say and do when you're traveling. I grew up in a family where my mother was an international photographer with National Geographic. So every time she went on a big trip, she came home with so many photos, as well as details of the country and what made people so interesting everywhere. So I grew up with a passion for international travel, and I have been blessed with many, many trips, more than 60 countries, and also the opportunity to work on more than 100 cruise ships as a guest lecturer on etiquette. So life is good, and every time you travel, you learn more. I always think of myself as an ambassador for myself, my company, and my country. And when I go to other people's countries, their homes, interact with them in markets and shopping places, it's exciting because I am a guest in their country and I need to behave properly. So lots to learn, and each and every country is so very different. With all of this in mind, I think it's important to know a few of the greetings for hello, thank you, goodbye, and different things that you might need to know and make it nice and easy for you. And I have found over the years that two things break down the barriers of communication, even if you don't know someone else's language. The first is the language of the smile, and a real smile starts in your heart. And then it shows around your lips, and then your eyes, and what you thought were your wrinkles are your positive attitude indicators. The second magical way to break down barriers of communication when you visit other countries is the positive nodding of the head. This seems to be a universal way to align and agree with someone. So remember, every day you have opportunities to showcase yourself at your best and that you are representing your country. Over the years, having been to so many countries, Nigeria was a very interesting experience. I was the only person with light skin that I met in a whole 3 weeks. But you know, their hearts were open to the kinds of things that I teach and talk about. And in the past decade, I've been to the Middle East many, many times. Now, if you only listened to what was on the news and on the television, you might think the entire Middle East is a dreadful place to go, and I have not found that to be true at all. People have wonderful hearts, and what I saw was the love of families and children, and respect for women was amazing. And it was just an exciting experience to get to learn the language, such as shukran, saying thank you. And the food, oh my goodness, the food is absolutely fantastic. The minute I go back to the Middle East, which is 4 or 5 times a year, I drop my luggage at the hotel and head directly to my favorite restaurant to have lamb stew. It's exciting, and they welcome me because I am there with an open and welcome heart to learn about their culture, the similarities and the differences. We often focus on differences, and I'm suggesting we focus on some of the similarities while we open our heart to the differences that different countries have and the way of doing things, because there's magic in everything. I also had an auntie years ago who worked in Africa as a missionary for many years, so that was big lessons too. I would advise, if you're only going to read one book on etiquette and manners, and that's called Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands. Each chapter is about a different country, and it'll give you some of the internal ways of thinking and understanding and just the basics of getting along and meeting other people. Because remember, we are a guest in their country. So everything is an adventure. and live traveling, the experiences on your own or with a small group of people is far better than the history textbooks that we are encouraged to read during our school days. History and geography is vital and very important, but when you experience the enrichment in your heart, you will always have the memories that remind you of the different places you went. So try the different food. Be brave. Sometimes I don't even ask what I'm eating, but if they're offering it to me, my suggestion would be to try it because we are a guest. And it isn't that you have to love it, but we do want to try something. Our world isn't very narrow if we only experience our own culture. And although I've been single for many years, I've often said to men who wish to date me, I have a couple of requirements, and one is you must have a passport, and two, you must own a tuxedo. They might sound silly, but those were two of my requirements because I am a global woman, and the experiences and the enrichment that I receive from international travel is always wonderful, and I hope that my footprint in their country brings great pleasure to them and to their hearts as we get to know each other through different ways. The food, the greetings, the fabrics, the energy of the people, the experiences. I remember being in Italy and taking the gondola rides and learning about the Murano glass, and it's just such an enrichment. And when you travel, I recommend you consider bringing home some things from other countries that you can create a home that's filled with the treasures of the international world. So be prepared. Etiquette and manners will open the doors for you. And I find it even allows me to be invited to people's home as a trusted person and an international traveler. Gloria Starr, and thank you, Courtney, for including me in Inspired Internationally. It's been a great pleasure, and I wish you, all of you, continued success in life's adventures.